Good day, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the universe. This is Valerie. I'm standing in my truth. And it's my daily blog, my thought processes. And thank you to everyone that tunes in to listen to what I have to say. I hope it resonates with what's going on in your life. There's not much I can say, really, to be fair, because I'm still locked up in my house. I've already made the decision to walk out of work. And now I've got to make that decision of what do I do next? What now? What am I supposed to do? Got all this time on my hands. But positive affirmations to you all first and foremost before I say anything else. One of the things that's been in the news, and please do not hate me or have a go, roll your eyes or your teeth, whatever, whoever's watching or listening. But I had such a gutful of the George Floyd last year. You know, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, blue lives matter, everybody's lives matter. I'm so fed up of it. All I know is that I matter. Is that me being not compassionate enough? I mean, everybody's got an opinion. And, you know, quite rightly so. Quite rightly so, express your opinions. Not that anyone needs to understand or take it on board or, you know, it's just your opinion, isn't it? But what I do despise, it's not even an opinion, it's just, I hate the fact that I don't get caught up in colour. It's just not how I was brought up. I have such a wonderful array of friends, and I hate that terminology when it says, I've got a load of white friends, you know. I've got a load of black mates, you know. Your friends are your friends. Forget the colour. But that's easy for me to say, because even your friends, I'm black. Even my white friends don't know how to treat me anymore. They don't know what to say. Last year, 2020, when it was Black Lives Matter, we were all running out getting T-shirts. We were all aggrieved. Oh my God, you know, you killed a man, blah, blah, blah. There were so many backstories to suggest that they knew each other personally. You know how the press wants to, turn things round and say that's not the way it was supposed to be. But that is not even... Look, I don't have a chip on my shoulder. And that's today's podcast. That chip on my shoulder. I could go somewhere and I am judged just by the colour of my skin. I can have a conversation by phone. And then, when I turn up face to face, I'm looked upon like, oh, that's not the same person. Give you a story. Years ago, I used to work in a firm of solicitors. And, very small boutique firm. Beautiful people. Used to be, was any of the black? Myself, I was a legal secretary. And sometimes I'd answer the phone. And at that time, we used to have a lot of clientele that didn't come into the office because they had a lot of money and so they didn't need to come in. We used to deal with them, etc., etc. The funniest thing is we had this one client that used to call and always wanted to speak to moi. And I say, hello, blah, blah, blah. How are you today? He would have flowers delivered to me. Now, he's never met me, but as I was the legal PA to the director of this legal firm, he spoke to me on a regular basis. He always had some litigation going on, or he was buying property. You name it, he was doing it. Anyway, lo and behold, he was about to get divorced. So he had to come into the office and, have his affidavit sworn, and I had to type it all up. Anyway, he was getting rather excited because over a period of nearly a year, he had never ever met me. And there was numerous times to do that, but I was either at court, issuing court documents, or being a paralegal, taking notes at the barrister's office, etc., etc. Anyway, so our paths never, ever had the time to cross. And I never thought of him as anything else but just a client. One day he said, look, I'm coming over tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. Please make sure that you're there. And I'm saying, listen, after 5:30, I'm out of the office. Where things are a lot different now because you have different types of law firms that have 2 shifts. So if you've got American-based, international, global, clients, then you're working later than normal, aren't you? So you might do a 2 till 8 or blah, blah. Anyway, don't need to give you all of that. Anyway, this client then, decided to turn up. So I happened to be in the reception. He comes in looking smart and dappered, and he's got slight black peppered hair. And I thought, he's a bit tasty, oh, dear me. Anyway, the client, he comes in and he said, so I'm standing there and I thought, I'm not going to say anything. And he said, oh, good evening, can I, is blah, blah here. That was my boss. And he said, and I'm also looking for the lovely Valerie. So I smiled and I said, Mr. blah, 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 won't keep you long. Everyone's gone home. I'm just waiting to let you in so I can shut up and go. And he said, okay. He said, Valerie not here. And I said, but I'm Valerie. And now you would have thought he would have heard my voice and thought, oh, right, okay. But the look on his face, he was mortified. And I heard it slip out of his mouth, and he tried to sort of gobble the words back, and he's gone, but you're... And I almost finished the sentence for him and says, yes, I'm black. And by this time he had flowers and he had a box of chocolates. And he didn't know if he should give it to me or lie and I felt bad for him. I didn't feel bad for myself because I'm used to where people would speak to me on the phone. And then when they come into the office, they realise that I'm a black person. And he just didn't know what to say. And he says, oh, you speak ever so well. And I thought in my head, just say it. Or should I say it for you? But I couldn't. Because back then it was quite PC. And this is quite some time ago. And I looked at him and I said, now that you're in Mr. Blah Blah, I'll let you wait here for, the director who I worked for. And he was still holding the chocolates and the flowers. And one of the other secretaries who I thought had gone home happened to be at the door because she was like, oh my God, he goes on about you so much. And she witnessed where he stood there and he just couldn't get over the fact that I was black. And he had built up this whole picture of me, which he had told her, kept harping on about me. And then to see that I was black absolutely crushed him. Lucky for me, I didn't care about him either way, apart from It's my job to be polite. It's my job to make sure that you are always at ease. And, but right there and then, I could have had a chip on my shoulder. I didn't. I actually felt sorry for him. Because I know I'm a nice person. He knows I'm a nice person. He knows that he had fallen for this nice person on the phone. Only to be heartbroken that he couldn't like or love, or he was crestfallen because he had banged all his hopes on this woman that he'd been speaking to for a whole year, only to find out she's black. And I remember locking the door behind me, and I said to my boss, I said, look, I'll see you tomorrow. And with that, do you know, I never really heard from that client again. And when I could see his number would come up on these, because we had these phones at the time where the number would come up, I would make the other girl in the office, Sandy, answer the phone. It just didn't bother me. I actually felt sorry for him. And I laughed it off because I was getting, I had a partner, and I found it funny to go back and tell him that, look, this guy really likes me off. And, at the end of the day, when he actually met me in person, he couldn't believe I was black. He just almost nearly capitulated and died right there and then on the spot. It was a pleasure to watch him actually just literally, everything, the shit that falls out of his pants, the way his mouth dropped, And he then left a message to my boss a few weeks later, goes, she's quite beautiful, isn't she? And by then I'd already told my boss what had happened. And my boss turned and said to him, well, more fool you then. That's what my boss said to him. And because my boss and I was quite pally and friends and stuff like that. And we'd go and sit in the pub and have a drink, a tipple after work or a tipple at lunchtime, as we do. But I could have had a chip on my shoulder. I could have been mad about that. But the chip on my shoulder is I'm fed up of being profiled before my mouth is open. I'm profiled when I go into a shop if I'm not dressed a certain way, or people feel that it's okay to jump me in the queue because I could be dressed immaculately in the most gorgeous shoes and suited and booted. That's still not good enough. And it's never going to be good enough. I'm fed up of feeling that I am not on the same level. You think that they're superior to you. Even the chavs and the gypsy and the all of them. Sorry, I'm saying it as it is. Now, their own society absolutely looks down on people like that. I don't, but I'm just saying because it's a true fact. But the fact that the colour of my skin is absolutely below the lowest of low. It's just, I can't fathom it. I would never look at a white person and think, oh, you are lower than me, or I'm better than you. How dare you? It just isn't that. I'd like to think that I'm humble enough to not get into a racist, catatonic state. So when I saw, that George Floyd murderer had, got what he deserves, I've not watched it. I've only just seen it on social media, and I refuse to watch it because last year a lot of people got so caught up in it. It's funny, now that the trial's on, it's neither here nor there. Because Black Lives Matter, the words alone scares people. And you've got to remember there's a lot of people who are integrated in terms of race, black and whites together. or Asian and blacks, or Asian and whites. And so there's a crossbreed of people. But fundamentally, when you look at it, we just live in a racist world. We really, really do. And I'm not playing the victim. I read the other day where someone said, "Oh, I'm so fed up with black people playing the victim." Why would we want to play the victim? Come on. I have no reason to play the victim as a black person. Because I am a victim of being a black person. So I'm not playing it. I am a victim, even if I don't want to be. I am. So when people are writing on on these social media boards, or saying, or behind closed doors, and they forget that I'm black, so they're having these conversations because they completely forget I'm black, but they're having it there. I'm thinking to myself, are you off your rocker? Really? Do you know what you're thinking? Because I guess not everyone's like me. The other day I was speaking to someone, which I always keep saying this in my podcast. This guy who has got a white girlfriend, and, they got kids together, only for the mother of the black guy to turn and say, "This ain't gonna last." And 12 years on, they're still together. So this mother has had to, endure the fact that her grandchildren are mixed race. But the son was so distraught that the woman that he'd chosen, not because of colour, but because she understood him, that his mother couldn't be happy for him. Now, I'm saying this because this is what happens if you spin it round. It's the same applies to white people. So who's got the chip on the shoulder? Because it can't just be black people that's got a chip on the shoulder. If this is how people react, it's like, your parents would be absolutely fuming if you decided to be gay. And that's the category we come in. Not everybody's open-minded. We can't all be the same. But we need to let go of that chip on the shoulder, black and white. I can't speak for anyone else. But I'm fed up of looking like, seeing me straight away, and you think I have a chip on my shoulder, and I'm worried about white people. I'm not worried about white people at all, because you're not better than me. You never will be better than me. You're lucky in life, and black people are lucky in life too. So I'm not better than you, you're not better than me. So I will be not giving that kudos to anybody over me. Whether it be in work, whether it be in my musical career, never, ever going to happen. I already fight that battle with black people. I already fight that battle as a black person with another black person. I have people around me who are black and they do not like the fact that I have white friends or I move in the white circle. They're the ones with chips on their shoulder. But then you have the white people who don't like the fact that you've got black friends. It is a vicious cycle. It'd be interesting to see what the outcome of... There was 4 that was arrested with George Floyd killings. It'd be interesting to see, now that Charvin has been done, will the other 3 get, dealt with the same way? Interesting. Let's hope it's done for justice and not for show, to appease the black people, but for justice. I cannot knock anybody. I won't. I've seen too many atrocities happen because of colour. I've seen my own mankind, my own colour, treat our own colour disgracefully. And then you wonder why white people treat us badly. It's a double-edged sword. And that's me standing in my truth. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the universe. Signing out, Valerie M.A.K. Maxfield.